Zeofate plays Horizon Forbidden West. And welcome everybody to another episode of Horizon Zero. No, it's not Horizon Zero Dawn. It's Horizon Forbidden West. Let's see. Let's start that one.
Laughing at we already got maps. If you call
Oh, I didn't get that campfire. Okay. I will have to correct that.
Scroungers. Moldov said I could find a metal panel in one of their scrap piles. Frost will hurt it.
Come here.
She's on to me. Oh!
Ow. There we go.
Okay. Now look through the scrap piles for a metal component.
There.
I think I have everything I need for Mildif. Good thing, too. I could use a decent meal.
Okay, so that's done. Let's go get that campfire because we'll use it as a fast travel point.
This pigment would work well on armor.
Yeah, this place got trashed. Doesn't really look like there's any salvage here, so... Okay.
Ah, there you are. I happen to receive another visit from Ulvald himself. He was pushy, but I stood my ground. And dare I say it, I even got my own back. Yes, I did.
I'm listening.
When I made his meal, I used 3 pinches of salt. Instead of 2.
Each journey begins with a single step, I guess. I think I have everything you asked for.
Then just as you have inspired me, let us see if I can return the favor. Time to cook.
Wow. Mildif, that was inspired.
Next time you want the best provisions, you know where to find me. And your next order of any dish will be on the house.
Thanks. And don't forget to stand up for yourself.
Funny you should say that. As it happens, I'm already cooking up my next portion of resistance. Hope to see you again.
Okay, that's done. Okay, so I already got a degree of striker pieces.
Be a good idea to stock up on some food before I head back out. See what else.
Now all you're missing is back for that free meal? Go on, peruse my menu.
So let's actually see what these do. Max stamina. Concentration regen by 3 levels for 3 minutes. Not bad. Trap limit for... Okay. If I'm being honest, I probably won't ever use these. So I need to find Petra.
I am most certainly so.
Are you up there? I think that might be. Nope.
Hey, slow it down, would ya?
She's supposed to be in the bar. There she is.
Change your mind about that brew? Come for that beer after all, eh? Here, sit down. Get a pint in her hand. Wasn't expecting you to swing by.
Since when do I do what's expected?
There's that spark. Fire and spit.
Fire and spit.
That's a blast from the bellows. Won't fix the forge, but at least I can forget about my troubles for a while.
Like what?
Take your pick. We got bodies to bury from the bristlebacks, the work stoppage, Ulvald grating the gears about his concession decree. Hey! Weapons off the table! Ah, don't listen to me. Nothing a cold brew and knocking some heads together can't fix eventually.
So the bristlebacks in the Daunt. Where did they come from?
That's the thing. No one rightly knows. They just showed up one day, rampaging around the valley like they exploded out of a forge. Lost some good people. But I heard talk of some vanguards trying to take them down.
Did they come through here?
Stopped by briefly for supplies. Ulvald was none too pleased. Won't be able to crank it to his advantage once the bristlebacks are gone.
But how could bristlebacks in the Daunt help Ulvald?
2 words. Concession decree. Since no one knows where the bristlebacks came
Stratler04
from,
said,
Ulvald
have
has
you
taken
peed
to
in that
blaming the
guy's
Karja
room
for
yet?
him. He's hoping to dig up enough old resentments to get a strike going until the concession's signed. This is just his latest attempt. He's been trying to rile up the workers since the day he rolled into town.
And people actually believe him?
Lots of folks suffered at the hands of the Mad King during the Red Raids. Give him half a reason, they'll blame the Karja for anything.
Damn Karja slavers.
If that's something that happens in the game, the answer is no. I haven't.
I thought you'd be back in Freeheap.
Well, after the big battle at Meridian, I went back. But realized it was running smooth. Didn't need me. Heard about the rebuilding out at Barren Light. Figured they could use another hammer. Been scraping by ever since.
You could always leave.
And go back east? Nah. I ain't one to leave a lit forge. Besides, someone's gotta be a squeaky wheel for the workers around here.
So about Ulvald.
Around here, everything's about Ulvald.
How'd he end up in charge?
He got here early, like a squirrel smelling a fat nut. He knew rebuilding Barren Light would need stone and timber. So he jangled purses all over Mainspring, getting investors to front claims on anything in the Daunt that might be worth a damn. Thing is, all the bankers back home know that this is Karja land, and the Sun King can revoke those claims at any time. That's why he's desperate for the magistrate to sign off on a concession decree.
This concession decree, what is it exactly? And how would it help Ulvald?
It's pig diddle, that's what.
A writ that would put all Osram claims in the Daunt under Osram law, even though they're on Karja land. It would mean that any existing ore, stone, and timber claims couldn't be revoked by the Karja. No more risk, no more hesitation for investors back in the claim to pour in the shards and expand their business. And since Ulvald has a stake in all those claims, it would make him richer than a scrapper in a junk heap. Not to mention Chainscrape would become an Osram municipality, so he could buy enough votes to call himself an elderman. He's a sly old badger, I'll give him that. Figures if he keeps up the pressure, eventually the magistrate will sign.
Well, I have to be going. Thanks for the drink, Petra. I'm glad I stopped by.
Anytime, Flamehair.
Okay, let's
Aloy, please.
work on the next tutorial for this.
I knew I'd make a strike player out of you yet. How about this time I tell you how to use a board's terrain to your advantage? This one's got all the different terrains you can encounter in a game of Strike. Knowing when and how to use them can mean the difference between victory and defeat. Terrain mainly affects your machine's combat power. As you know, when fighting an opponent's machine, you compare its combat power to yours. The higher your machine's combat power, the more damage you can do. So finding the right terrain is an essential strategy for overpowering your opponent. Here, I'll show you. Grab that piece to your left and move to attack my machines. Now let's take a look at your combat power is the sum of a machine's attack power and the value of the terrain it's standing on. Since your machine is attacking, it's using its 2 points of attack power. It's also standing on forest terrain with a value of 1 point. Add those together and your machine has 3 points of combat power. My machine is standing on grassland terrain with a value of 0 points. It's also not attacking, which means their attack points aren't in play. So my combat power is 0. This means your machine can do 3 points of damage. Go ahead and test it out. There you go. Now, choosing the right terrain doesn't just improve your offense. It can also help defend your machines from attack. Grab your other piece and place it in front of my second machine. Since your machine is attacking, it's using its 2 points of attack power. It's standing on grassland terrain. This terrain has a value of 0. This means your machine's combat power adds up to 2 points. My machine can't use their attack power since they're defending their position. But they have the higher ground. They're standing on forest terrain, which is worth 1 point. This means my combat power adds up to 1 point. Now, the front of my machine is colored blue. This means that the spot you're about to attack has armor protecting it, which means my machine gets an extra point, giving it a total of 2 combat power points. If we compare the combat power of both machines, you'll see that you won't be able to do any damage. Whenever you're unable to top an opponent's combat power, you can still choose to attack and break their machine's defenses instead. Go ahead, try it out and see what happens. See? When you break a machine's defenses, you can knock it backwards. Sure, both our machines will receive 1 point of damage, but knocking my machine off that terrain makes it more vulnerable to attacks. Not only that, if my machine had been blocked from moving backwards, it would have received an extra point of damage. And if my machine had been blocked by another one of my pieces, that machine would have received damage as well. That's why breaking a machine's defenses is a great way to deal damage to several pieces at once. Useful, right? Okay, now go ahead and end your turn. There's still one more thing I want to... All right, as we've seen, the higher the terrain, the more it'll add to your machine's combat power. However, there are 2 other terrains that work a little differently. This is what we call a chasm. Only flying machines can be placed on those. But it'll take away 2 combat points if you do, so be wary. This is marsh terrain. Landing on it will take away 1 combat power point from most machines. It'll also keep your machine from moving for the rest of the turn. Here, let me show you. Grab that machine on your left. See? All you can do now is wait for your next turn to move again. Or you can overcharge your machine to get out of there. You can still attack any nearby enemies so you're not completely helpless. Well, I think that's enough yammering from me for now. Promise it'll all come in handy next time you play. Here for more tips? Why don't I tell you a bit more about the pieces we used to play? In a normal game, you get to choose which machines you place on the board. Each one is worth a certain number of setup points, and you can spend up to 10 assembling your army. Knowing what each machine brings to the game and building an army that matches your strategy is the key to becoming a machine strike master. When assembling your army, there are a few things to keep in mind. First and foremost, you can never have more than 4 of the same machine on the board at the same time. With that in mind, most players would choose machines based on how far they can move or how much attack power they have. But a real strike player will be looking at a machine's type and skills. Let's take a quick look, shall we? Pick up that machine on your left. All right, let's talk about the different ways in which a machine attacks its opponents. In other words, its machine type. If you look at your notes, you'll see this machine here is a melee type. You can also tell by the shape of the base the piece stands on. A melee type machine attacks the first enemy within range, and no one else. We've seen this plenty of times, so just move that piece forward so I can show you some more stuff. Great, now grab your other machine. Looks like we've got ourselves a gunner type machine here. This means they'll only hit the farthest enemy in their attack range. Let's move that machine forward and end your turn so we can take a look at the rest of the pieces.
So its attack range is 2.
Let's go with this piece first. This is a ram type machine. Attack an enemy with it and it'll push the piece backwards. Like this. See, now my machine has taken over your machine's spot on the board. This is a great way to take the advantage away from your opponent if they have the higher ground. Looks like we have one more piece to look at. Now this is a beauty of a piece, a dash type machine. When it attacks, it'll move to the end of its attack range and damage every machine in its path, including your own. So make sure you take a good look at the board before you send it off to the races. You should also make sure it's able to finish its attack on an empty spot. Otherwise, you won't be able to attack at all. Here, I'll show you. Look, it even rotated your piece. A nifty little piece you'll definitely want in your set. If you look at your notes, you'll notice this particular machine has one of the skills I mentioned before. There's quite a few of those, and we haven't even looked at all the machine types yet. But I'm pretty sure you've got more important things to do, so I made you a list. It's got all the tips and tricks we talked about, too. I think that about does it for now, so if you want to play a real game, just let me know.
Okay, so let's try the beginners.
Let's play. I'm up. That's it for me. Thank the forge you hit armor. I've got a tough fight ahead of me. Time to get serious. Oh, I thought I had that one.
Okay.
Good.
Let's see
luck.
how I do here.
Your turn. Okay, let's see. Board's all yours. My turn. Your move, Red. Time to make my move. You're up, Red. One less piece on the board. Well, that's done now. Time to make my move. Your move, Red. That was a surprise. Just one piece left. You got me down to one piece. I am impressed. Now that was a game, even if I lost.
Okay, let's see how
Here
these do.
we go. Okay, let's see. Board's all yours. Hey, I like that piece where it was.
Oh, that was a mistake.
Oh, seriously?
Ouch.
Knocked right off the board.
Okay.
That was brutal. I'm up. You're up, Red. Time to get serious. Ah, off the board it goes.
Damn.
Knocked right off the board. My turn. That's it for me. Off the board it goes. Time to make my move. That was brutal. Well, that's done now. My turn.
Yeah, I figured that was gonna be dead quick.
One less piece on the board. Just one piece left. That sure dampens the forge. I'm up. Oh, I won! Probably shouldn't sound so surprised.
Damn! Okay.
Don't be a stranger.
Okay. Start tracking this quest.
If I'm drunk, you.
We are on the same side here, Ulvald. The bristlebacks threaten us all.
Oh, drop the act. We all know it was the Carja who let the bristlebacks into the valley. Sent them straight through the gates of barren light.
That is preposterous. Why would we let dangerous machines into our own land?
You mean the land that
still owe me
honest
5
Osram
shards.
laborers work tirelessly with no say in its governance? The land that, should you sign the decree,
Oh, you and that damned concession decree.
would be managed by the people who actually live and work on it.
What do you want, Ulvald? Some kind of payment?
My dear magistrate, you think I can be bought?
Yes.
If you want that whistle blown, all you have to do is have your soldiers remove the bristlebacks and sign the concession decree. Face it, what other choice do you have?
Hi.
Savior, what auspicious timing. Might we discuss a matter of importance to the Sundom?
We might. Later.
Very well. I shall be waiting.
So, the savior herself, Walloper of Derval, gutter of youth.
Maybe.
I've heard many tales of your beauty and heroics, my fierce lady warrior. Ulvald Freeholder, at your service. So, what could have dragged you away from the fine silks and wine of Meridian to this smudge of a settlement? Your saviorly attention must be needed elsewhere.
I'm here for the embassy and...
The embassy? Why, by the forge. Ah. Greater gears for greater matters. Guess that means you'll be moving on.
Once I've dealt with any problems around here that need my saviorly attention.
Ah, the bristlebacks, of course. Got to get rid of them if you want that embassy to take place. Well, best get to it, hey? And off you go.
Not so fast. You don't seem to have a high opinion of the magistrate?
Well, I refuse to play nice to some fancy-robed parchment pusher when my fellow laborers are being bullied, intimidated, and taken advantage of.
How noble of you.
Noble, ha! Born with a hammer in hand, I was. Nobody handed me anything or dropped opportunity into my lap. Everything I've achieved, I've done on my own.
And where is this hammer now?
The, burden of leadership forced me to set it aside. The Carja risk nothing, while demanding that good Osram gamble with their lives out there. Someone had to step up and say no more.
You ordered the work stoppage?
Indeed I did. We're laborers, not soldiers. Until the Carja clean up their mess and give us the fair deal we deserve, I'm not risking Osram lives.
Fair deal? You mean your concession decree?
It's not my decree. It's on behalf of all the good Osram laborers of this land who do all the backbreaking work, while only the Carja reap the rewards. All we're asking for is the ability to share in this prosperity for a land worked by the people, for the people.
Right. Then just how much would be your share?
Only an amount appropriate to my contributions to this community, of course.
If Chainscrape is on Carja land, shouldn't a Carja be in charge? Who appointed you?
The sensibilities of good Osram folk, of course. You think a Carja can head this whole venture? Ah! The magistrate can barely make the trek from Barren Light without losing a few screws.
So you have no real authority then? People only follow you because you say so. Loudly.
Anyone who has followers has authority. I've been with Chainscrape from the beginning. I mean, I'm practically its founder, and its honest folk know I'm indispensable to its success.
You said you founded Chainscrape. Somehow I doubt that.
Practically founded, I said. I alone saw its potential when it was just a smattering of tents in Barren Light's shadow. I invested in the mine, convinced some friends back home to do the same, and here we are. You could say Chainscrape is what it is thanks to me.
Oh, so you're not just standing around and profiting off everyone else?
Not at all. Sure, I make a little return on my investment here and there, but my main priority, as it was from the beginning, is to look after the well-being of these honest, working Osram.
Okay, just the way he keeps saying all that, I know he's blowing hot air.
Where's the whistle?
Right in the middle of town, but with the threat out there, I'm not endangering innocent Osram lives.
I'm going to clear out the bristlebacks. And when I'm done, this valley is going to get moving.
If that's what it takes. Until then, I'll keep looking after the safety of these good folk.
Just be ready to blow the whistle. Better see what that Carja magistrate wanted. I bet he's in the tavern.
Never met a beer I didn't like.
Hey, I thought you'd left by now. Let's make that 2 orders at Broke Steel.
Savior, thank you for taking the time. And my condolences that you had to endure Ulvald's bloviating.
I've dealt with worse. It sounds like he's really trying to put you over the barrel.
The idea that the Karja purposely let bristlebacks into the Daunt, it's completely absurd. But the louder and longer he says it, the more support he'll get for his damned concession decree.
How did the bristlebacks get into the Daunt?
No one knows for sure. The first report of them came from west of the quarry. But unless they have wings I don't know about, I don't see how they could have come over the mountains.
No other way in.
The only way I know about is barren light. Look, if you can get to the bottom of this, I can offer a considerable bounty in return. Help me shut Ulvald up.
The hilarious thing is when they're going like, no, we just want to shut him up. You know you're annoying
What is this
people.
concession decree that Ulvald wants?
He wants the Sundom to designate portions of the Daunt as Oseram holdings. Only the portions, mind you, that produce any value.
Let me guess. Because he stands to profit somehow?
Exactly. With the Daunt under Oseram law, he could secure more investment for their numerous ventures.
He can't get those investments without the concession?
No. Not while there's a chance the Sundom could revoke their access. Hence, why the concession is so important to him. And why blaming the Karja for the bristlebacks, no matter how absurd, works in his favor.
How does blaming the Karja for the bristlebacks help Ulvald get his concession?
Look around. This may be the Sundom, but Chainscrape is all gears and rust and bad ale. Claiming that the Karja loosed the bristlebacks in order to intimidate Oseram laborers into obedience. Well, let's just say no one here has forgotten the atrocities of the Mad Sun King. And with the bristlebacks bringing work in the valley to a halt, Ulvald has plenty of time to pick at barely healed wounds.
And if the Oseram refuse to work, unless the concession is signed, you won't have a choice.
Correct. The reconstruction of Barren Light must continue.
How did you get stuck out here?
I asked for the posting, believe it or not. Overseeing the entire valley on behalf of the Sun King? It was an honor. Is an honor, I mean.
But your job would be a lot easier without someone like Ulvald blasting hot air all the time?
Ulvald's not going anywhere. He's been around longer than I have. Even fancies himself the founder of Chainscrape. Now, I'll find a way to live with him. I have to.
You said the bristlebacks were first spotted west of the quarry?
Yes, according to one terrified laborer, said the ground trembled before they came charging down the hillside.
What the? A lot of the audio just cut out for seemingly no reason. Okay. And now my controller's not responding. Okay, game. Well, I'm going to end this recording here. About an hour of it. So, yeah, we'll end this recording here. And so, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And we'll see you all next time. I reboot the game.